The converted man is here. Let me read what this channel is about. Not my channel, the channel I'm about to look at. I'm going to look at a particular video from this channel, but the channel that I'm looking at has this to say about itself, and I think it's relevant. All right. Here we go. Life is inherently negative because suffering is the only bad thing in this universe. This channel, Proextinction, aims to create an extinctionist revolution as sentient beings are the ones who are suffering unnecessarily and involuntarily in this existence, and their suffering needs to end. How can suffering end? Extinction of all sentient life, i.e., non existence of life. Oh, good. Anti-natalism and also extinctionism as a philosophy. Wonderful. Um, well, okay. That's your view. Um, but why are you still here? Seriously, why are you making any YouTube videos at all? If you really believe that suffering is bad and you think that all existence should end, then put your money where your mouth is. Go ahead. You can be first. I'm not saying that you should or that you will, and I hope that you don't, but I'm just saying I don't think that you really are following your philosophy. At least not for yourself. I find this disdainful as a view. Um, but it's interesting that you say this and then you follow it up with this video and we contrast those philosophies. Because saying existence needs to end to negate suffering. Okay, let's keep that in mind as we look at your video here.
So these days, atheists are as irrational as theists.
Starting off with a uh, Q Q. You as well. A Q que. You as well. We're all irrational. Everybody's irrational. That's nice. That's a great way to start things.
So these atheists, they often try to differentiate themselves from theists. So they say that okay, we are more rational, but it's actually not true.
I don't know. I don't think I don't I if I have said that I'm more rational than I shouldn't have. I try to keep humble. I know that I don't know much of anything. I know a little stuff, but my goodness, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know much of anything. It seems to me that it's the religious that think that they have the utmost truth and that they're absolutely right because God has inspired their book, and so they can't possibly be wrong. So religion asserts as divine that it is true. But being non religious, I don't know what true is necessarily. I know what false is. Definitely, I can spot that. But finding what is true is far more difficult. So I as far as being rational, well, there's different ways of looking at that, but it depends on what we're talking about, whether or not somebody could be more rational or not. I suppose it just depends on, how you're analyzing things in your epistemology.
So these theists and these atheists, they have the same set of belief system, but they just use different words for it.
No, I don't have a belief system. At least if belief is going to be equal to the sort of belief that a theist has, then no, you're wrong about that. I have things that I believe as a priori beliefs, like reality is real, lobsters exist, uh, logic functions, mathematics functions, and science seems to be the best tool that we have to figure this stuff out. I suppose those could be called beliefs, but the theist beliefs are, at least in terms of God, are nothing like my a priori beliefs. You gain a belief of God after being told about God, and you maintain a belief in God through various time and energy spent on that belief. I don't have to spend any time on my ideas because I'm not worried about them not being true. So even though I would label them or kind of have to label them as beliefs, they are certainly not in the same category with the theist beliefs. But okay, so what are you? Are you a theist or a non-theist? If you're saying we're both in the same camp, then okay, you're just as irrational as we are. Okay, great. Now what?
Actually, atheism is supposed to be a rational worldview which rejects religion and God.
No, atheism is not a worldview. It is part of a worldview, perhaps, but is in and of itself not a worldview. I don't know why people think this. I don't believe in leprechauns. It's not a worldview. I don't believe in goblins, ogres, or dragons. God. Don't believe in that. It's not a worldview, though. Skepticism, kind of more of a worldview, but even there, not a full worldview. So, no, it is not a worldview. But yes, it is a description of a person's belief or lack thereof. And then there's two definitions of atheists. There's the very popular one that is I don't is lacking a belief in God, or I don't believe in God, or and then there's the other one which is I think that there is no God, or the statement that there is no God, rather than just I think, because I think would also be a belief statement. But at any rate, okay, so you're wrong about this.
But it's actually not rational worldview these days.
It's not a worldview.
So, rational worldview. So, if you view this world rationally, you tell me what is important in this world.
Well, according to your own channel, what's important in this world is non-existence of all sentient life. So, the most important thing in this world, according to your own channel, would have to be the termination of all sentient life. If you say anything else, then you don't actually believe what your channel supports.
It's obviously not religion. 90% of the world might believe religion is important, but it is actually not religion. So what is important in this world? Is a rock important? No. Right? Is a child important? Yes. Is a dog important? Yes. So
All right, so you don't actually believe what your channel endorses or supports. So you should take down your entire channel then. Or you're a liar. Or both, maybe. I mean, maybe you're just a giant hypocrite. Uh According to your view, sentient life needs to be extinguished. So the dog and the kid must therefore not be important. Their existence is the worst thing possible according to your view. There's no hint of that here. Interesting.
So, what is important is sentient beings, conscious living beings. Because Consciousness is the only thing that matters. If you say,
and yet you want to eliminate consciousness from the entire realm of the earth, according to your channel's description. So, how can you believe that consciousness is the only thing that matters? Because by being conscious, we endure suffering. And you say the only end of suffering is to eliminate all consciousness. So consciousness must therefore be the worst thing possible and must not matter. The thing that must matter is non-consciousness. So you don't actually believe what your channel supports. And I'm not surprised that you don't. I'm just pointing out that you don't.
say that, okay, a rock matters. If you say that a religious book matters, you are not rational. Only conscious living beings matter. That is rationality. Right? So
Right. Conscious beings matter. So then we shouldn't strive to eliminate all existence of consciousness then. But that's what your channel does. So you're not rational. Okay. You're an irrational person. Got it.
So these conscious living beings undergo suffering, right? They undergo inevitable suffering in this world. So we are viewing the world rationally right now. So what these conscious living beings undergo? So they are subject to natural disasters, starvation and thirst. They are subject to abuse, oppression. They are subject to accidents, diseases, predation, etc., etc. So these conscious living beings, they are suffering, right? So their suffering matters to us. It's a bad thing, it's a negative thing that needs to be stopped. This is rational worldview. So what is the second implication of saying that we should be rational and there is no God? If there is no God, then the sentient beings that I talked about, they are suffering for no reason. There is
Yep. You got it. We're suffering for no reason. No, well, no universal reason. It's just that we're suffering uh, due to numbers of factors that we can list, and you did list those factors. Those are the factors why people are suffering. But as far as there being a purpose to suffering, nope, there isn't. That's correct. But what you're doing is an appeal to consequence. You're saying, I don't like that suffering is pointless. Therefore, suffering can't be pointless. Therefore, there must be a reason to suffering. Which, if true, then suffering is fine. If there's a purpose for it, then it must be okay to suffer, which then negates your idea that all consciousness should be put extinct. And it just goes to further prove you don't believe what you've written in your own channel.
no ultimate purpose. There is no grand plan, grand purpose. There is no being miraculously operating.
Correct.
Right? So these sentient beings who are suffering here are suffering for no reason.
Right.
Absolutely no reason. This is meaningless.
Yep.
Right? So all this freak show of this life, all this circus, this is meaningless. So the
Well, kind of, but also no. I mean, it matters to us. Absolutely matters to us. But as far as a cosmic scale, no, it doesn't matter in that sense. It's not objectively some end result or goal in mind. And even if there was an afterlife or a god uh, or both, I don't know that that would add meaning to suffering. So you're not really making a case at all. You're not making. Let's see where you're going with this, because I don't know. You got way off track of how it is you think atheists are irrational, but you're saying, okay, here's what you think. You think that it's a world full of suffering. Yes. That suffering is bad. Okay, sure. And what? How does that mean I'm irrational? You haven't said anything yet about why I'm supposedly irrational.
The third implication is that you have to help these sentient beings who are suffering,
Yeah,
because atheism means there is no God.
not
Theists say that
really, but
okay, let God save all these sentient beings, all these conscious beings who are suffering, but you can't say that. So when I was 10 years old, I got jaundice, and my grandparents, they took me to a miracle worker, which is like a faith healer.
and that person did diddly squat for you. They should have taken you to a doctor instead. So they were bad grandparents. Okay.
Right? So they believed that this person will speak to God and help me, help cure my jaundice, which is like a really deadly disease. So an atheist would have handled this situation better.
No kidding. That's why religion is poisonous. Because people wind up doing stupid stuff like that. You could have died.
Right? So they would know the rational fact that the only thing that could help me is going to a hospital.
Right.
Right?
So how
So
am I? So
you
how is it the atheists are irrational then? Sounds like the religious are irrational.
know that you have to help.
Right.
God will not help.
Correct. If there's a God, it doesn't do diddly for us. So why believe in it? Therefore, I'm rational to not believe in it. Still waiting for you to show that I'm irrational here.
You know that you have to help these sentient beings who are suffering.
Yeah.
There is no miracle being waiting to, work a grand purpose and help these beings who are suffering later. You
Yeah.
know that.
Okay.
And the final implication is that you cannot worship an authority.
I mean, you can worship whatever you want and still be an atheist as long as the thing that you're worshiping isn't a god. You would qualify as an atheist. I don't know what really worship is per se, or what the purpose of it is, or why you would worship anything. I don't. But if you find pleasure in doing an activity that you call worship, okay, I don't have anything against it. But there's nothing saying that you can't do it. So you're wrong about that.
Right? So as soon as you give up the belief of God, the next thing you start worshipping is nature.
No, not even no. I don't worship nature. I don't worship anything at all. Not even a little. I love logic, but I don't even worship logic. Be kind of weird. Like, what am I doing? Burning incense and be like, oh, hail logic. Nom nom nom. No, I don't. I don't worship anything. So just wrong about that.
You say that okay, these sentient beings suffering, it's natural. Just let it happen. Why do I care?
No, I don't say that ever. In fact, you just said that I don't say that. You just said that the implication is that I'm the only thing that can help a person is other people. So why are you now saying that this is what I say when I don't say that? And you already said that we don't say that. So now you're going against what you just said. I think you're very confused.
Right? So worshipping nature is also worshipping an authority.
I suppose, and also no, because if you're anthropomizing nature, then nature is essentially a god, and then you wouldn't be an atheist at that point. Uh, but since that's not something I do or that any atheist I know does, I'm going to say that you're completely wrong about this and it doesn't apply. So basically, if you're saying that somebody that worships nature is irrational, I would agree. Atheists do not worship nature. So, because this doesn't apply to atheists, then you can't say that atheists are irrational. Everything you said before this was, uh, you know, fine-ish, even though it goes against your own worldview of extinction as a solution to suffering, which is weird because you seem to go against it in this video. So I don't know, man. But at any rate, this doesn't apply to atheists, so I'm still rational.
And this is even worse than theists. At
Oh,
least
so it's worse than theists. Oh, okay.
theists believe there is a person, okay, sitting there, and we have to obey him like a king or something.
Eh?
But you guys are more irrational, saying giving importance to some meaningless set of laws. Just nature is just the set of laws by
Eh?
which this existence works.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's nature is just a bunch of laws of stuff. Okay. Yeah, I don't, I mean, it's a description of reality. I don't worship it personally. I just accept that reality is whatever reality is. How is that incoherent?
It's as simple as that. There is not even a person to obey.
Uh huh.
It's just a set of meaningless laws.
Uh,
It's as simple as that. So you are
yeah.
more irrational. Nature worship is more irrational than worshipping a god. There is
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know that it's more irrational than worshiping a god because I don't know how you would quantify what is more irrational or less irrational than any other proposition. But nonetheless, yeah, sure, nature worship is incoherent. That's not an atheist. So don't know what the hell you're talking about.
there is nothing there. Right? Not even a fictional character to respect. You are saying you are respecting nature, right? Let's not interfere with nature. If suffering happens, it's a course of nature. Let it happen. There is nothing there. Why
Uh,
should I respect just a bunch of meaningless laws by which this existence works?
I don't know. I don't worship nature, so this doesn't apply. I can't answer this question.
So, if I am walking in a forest, if I see a starving deer and I have some fruits in my hand, I'll give it to that deer. It's as simple as that. I won't be like, okay, let nature take its course. I'll go happily, right? So that doesn't mean I interfered in nature and collapsed some grand plan. Again, you are also believing in some grand plan.
No, I don't believe in a grand plan. Stop saying that I believe in stuff that I don't believe in. What the hell? You were doing so good until this point. Well,
So number one, from a rational worldview, only sentient beings matter. Only conscious living beings matter.
I
Number
mean, I agree that sentient beings matter. I don't know that it's the only thing that matters, but I certainly think that it matters. I think there's other things that matter too. Just that putting that as a high importance, sure, yeah, okay,
two, if God doesn't exist, then there is no grand purpose. There is no God's plan.
right. I agree. There isn't a grand purpose to suffering, and since we don't like suffering, we should try to find ways to eliminate suffering. Now, your view is to eliminate existence as a way to do it. Yet you're still here talking. You still exist. So, just wondering about that. Um, might not be obvious, but I find the extinctionist view as rather disdainful and abhorrent. Antinatalism also can go suck a big old bag of lemons. But at least that one's like, I'm not gonna have kids. Okay, well, there's the end of your gene line. Whatever. I'm gonna try to get other people to not have kids. Okay, whatever. But this is kind of worse because you're like, everybody should want humanity to go extinct. And all sentient creatures too. No. But anyways, supposedly this is what atheists think. So anyways, yeah, you're right. There isn't a point in sentient beings suffering in the cosmic scale, and I think that we should work to alleviate that suffering while continuing to exist.
So all this suffering happening is pointless. These beings are
Yep,
experiencing something negative, something bad pointlessly.
yep,
And number 3, you have to be the one to help them.
yes, I agree.
And number 4, you shouldn't irrationally go to worshipping nature or
I agree. You shouldn't worship nature. Well, I mean, there's nothing preventing you from worshiping anything, but for the most part, yeah, I agree. Worshiping nature would not be very coherent in a logical sense. So this doesn't apply to atheism. So I guess I'm rational then.
respecting nature, because nature is just a bunch of laws. It doesn't have to be minded. It is not rational to mind nature.
Uh huh.
So you should be the one interfering in nature. You should realize that okay, this existence is flawed. The nature of this existence is flawed. Either a lion kills a zebra, the zebra suffers and dies, or the lion starves and dies. So this existence is made in a way, is in a way that sentient beings have to suffer if they exist. So the only solution for these sentient beings, the only rational thing to do right now is causing non-existence.
Hey, he finally got to his argument. All right. So everyone is irrational, and the only one that's rational is him. I wonder where have I heard this idea before? Oh, precept. Right, right. Yeah, sure, buddy. Go ahead. You be first. Why are you still here? Just saying. Why are you still here? Why are you still doing this? Just asking. Go ahead. You be first. You be the example. You go walk off that cliff. I'll be right behind you. Maybe I'll watch as you fall and make sure you're toast. Is he dead now? Okay. I'm walking away from the cliff. I'm not gonna follow him. What are you, crazy? Anyways, but yeah, you shouldn't end your existence, nor should you advocate for anyone else to end their existence or advocate for us all to end their existence. This is not rational, actually. Um, but it has nothing to do with atheism being irrational or not. So we're done with your video, I guess. But this is your your supposed argument for non-existence is suffering is bad. I agree, suffering is bad, but existing is good. I like existing. I don't like not existing. I mean, well, I'm not there to like it or not like it, but it's not like not existing uh gives me any benefit. So I'd rather keep existing, even though it means sometimes I have to suffer. But I can find ways to reduce that suffering while still continuing to exist. I think you're irrational. In fact, I know you're irrational, and I think that my video here pretty much proved it. So yeah, I'm done with you, and yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so that was that video, and he wants us to all go extinct. So kind of a weird religion. Yeah, if you're ever invited to a party by him and he hands out drinks, make sure he drinks first, and then pour out your drink. And don't eat anything or drink anything that he gives you. Maybe don't even go to the party. But why is he still around doing videos? Should I ask him that in the comments? Why are you still here? You're not following your own idea. Oh, anyways. All right. I've harped on it too long. Maybe it's just a little bit more. All right. Yeah. If everyone jumped off a cliff, he'd be happy, I guess, right? Because the saying is like, oh, if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you jump too? No. But then everybody would be gone, except for me. And in fact, if everyone jumped, that would also include you. So I'm not really sure that this metaphor works the way that you think it works. Weird. Well, you encounter weirdness everywhere, and every day things get a little bit weirder. And the solution is to keep existing, because as long as we exist, there's hope for this world in you and I. So, keep existing and doing reason and logic. And I'll see you next time. I'll see you writing words at me. You might see me because I might be on camera, but I might just be a floating avatar head that glows. You never know what's coming next on Deconvert Man. I never know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Hit that button already. No, wait. No. Turkey.